How's it, everyone? Welcome back to Game Time, episode 7. We're in the beautiful Redefined studio here in Cape Town. Joshy, my brother,
How's it, bugger?
good to see you.
You too? You too?
Good weekend?
Solid one. Lots of rest, lots of disappointment.
And you're still sticking to your sober Cobra.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
still
still sticking to it. I'll have complete transparency on the show, right?
Yes.
People are going to tell me that I'm not sticking to it when I say this. So when I decided to do sober Cobra for the 3-4 months, whatever, there's 1 or 2 times that I've been like, I'm not turning down a Guinness with my dad for Father's Day. So I had a Guinness with my dad yesterday. I then had to turn down the second Guinness and the Jameson later in the day, but turned it down.
That's all right.
So that was my one Guinness. Then I had a Leffe, whatever the name of that beer is, the Belgian beer.
But like in the last, say, 21 days since you started,
2 beers.
2 beers.
Yeah.
Which is all right.
Yeah.
Which is not bad.
It's not bad.
Completely different compared to my weekend.
Oh, yes, skitsy.
But I must say, like Capital Craft was such an awesome fest, and I think it was. It's quite amazing to see that there's so many very, very strong people that love drinking beer and know so much about beer. And I mean, it wasn't like a big SAB festival, like a party. It was a party, first of all, but secondly, it was like there's a lot of craft beers. Like, I mean, Bomb Squad was there. Next to us was Darling Brew, and they such a cool group of guys as well. And the people just like queued to get their little stickers and their little stamps in their passport. So it was such an eye opener to see like how much people actually appreciate good beers and the trouble they will go through to actually get their hands on a decent enough beer. But I mean, that was the one fun part about the weekend. Let's talk about the not so fun part about the weekend.
Stephen Kitzel.
And just in all transparency, I just want to say congratulations to Leinster. I think well deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got friends in that group. We got Erge there. We got Jacques Ninobe as one of the coaches. So just a well-deserved victory. And yeah, well done.
Well done, boys. Hats off. It was well-deserved.
Yeah, and I think probably just in Leinster's, I mean, their last 5 years, they've been without a trophy. They've been struggling. They've been knocked out of the Champions Cup. They've been knocked out a couple of times in the URC. So I think it is well-deserved. They've had probably one of the strongest squads in the last four URCs in the last 5 years. So well-deserved. I think it was a complete performance. Something that stood out for me and what we actually commented, which we made a comment about in the previous week, was the scrum. And I felt Leinster's performance at scrum time, and still to this, I think Volko's probably one of the strongest URC tight heads there is at the moment, probably in the world. Same with Jan-Hendrik Wessels, great scrummager, but just the way they actually picked that Bulls pack apart, like it was just unreal. Just unreal to see.
Could see. I think it became a South Africa thing, not just a Blue Bulls thing. Obviously, that partnered with the fact that it is their 3rd final. Everyone was like, surely this is the one. Massive shout out to Archia, now 2 URC titles. He's now the player with the most URC titles.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to him for that. Kitsi, what I really wanted to get into with you, from my point of view, from my perspective, the fans' take on the whole thing. This is obviously something that a lot of people are disappointed about. A lot of people were surprised. A lot of people were not surprised. I read a lot of comments on the Leinster fans specifically, that there wasn't much belief in the team around the time that they got knocked out of the championship. Everyone was going, okay, Leinster have buggered it up again. And then it's almost like game after game through the URC, they just got better and better and better and better until the final. And I would say that final performance was them refined to the T. It was a perfect performance. What was really cool to hear from their coaches in the post-press conference was they didn't try to find a solution around what the Bulls' strength is in terms of their physicality. They rather went, cool, the Bulls are physical, let's meet them head on and let's take them at their own game. Yeah. and the scrum was a very clear indication of that. I don't know how Leinster won all those scrums.
Yeah.
When you look at the pack from the Bulls, how are you possibly stronger than Wilco? It blows my mind that they were able to get that right. There was, who's the guy? I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but he's got a mullet and the very messed up ears and he's tattered.
Andrew Porter.
Yeah. He's a beast.
Yeah, and he played well. And I mean, I think there was a lot of people spoke about his scrummaging performance, and maybe it wasn't as good as it could be. And I think when he puts on an Irish jersey, it's like it's a different animal, and it's always like that. Guys perform so well when it comes to international rugby, but sometimes they lack a bit when it is, and you see it everywhere. And some guys do step up in big occasions, but I feel it was I almost feel like the Bulls won their game the Saturday before against the Sharks. The performance they put up, the physical battle, the way they actually dominated the game, it almost feels like they won or try to win their URC on that weekend. And unfortunately, just didn't pitch up for the final, which was something like where I actually made a comment during the game. Is like it almost felt Leinster was just like 3 steps quicker on a regular basis. Like when it came to the kick chases, it always felt like there was a Leinster player getting there first. There was if something bounced on the ground, it was a Leinster player diving on it. It almost felt like the Bulls were just a little bit out of depth and almost looked tired. Like they wasn't as sharp as they were the previous weekend. Their ball carries wasn't as dominant as trying to get over the advantage line every time. It was almost like a slower Bulls pack compared to the weekend before, or even the rest of the URC season. And I don't know if it might have been a combination of a tough semi-final versus a long travel to get to Dublin or to Cork Park, but it felt like Leinster was just more desperate for it.
Yeah, you're right, dude. I think that's a good way to put it, that they were more desperate for the win. Because Dylan Ray actually pointed out something really interesting. Firstly, a 2-try lead in the first 19 minutes. Then you get to the end of the first half, and it's at a 22 phase or a 19 phase movement from the Bulls, and they get nothing out of it straight into the halftime. I was like, that mentally is such a smack in the face that you, this big, dominant, strong force coming in the 22 for 19 or 22 phases, and you don't get anywhere. That's a huge chop at the knee. But Dol Ray pointed out, he was saying one thing he realized was the passing through the Bulls when they were trying to work through the different channels. I'm learning nice phrases with you, dude. But when they're passing through the different channels, they were receiving flat-footed.
Yeah.
No one was actually
like punching onto it.
Exactly. In the movement of catching and hitting that line, everyone was receiving flat foot and going, which way do I kind of play with this? Cool, let me put my head down and try go through them. And it wasn't working to go through them. So it's almost like the thing that the Bulls had become so dependent on after an incredible performance against the Sharks, where that did work, that was taken from them. Now it's like, now what else do you have?
Yeah, and it almost felt like a carbon copy of what happened last year against Glasgow at Loftus. It almost felt like the Bulls, overall, they play like quite a dynamic style of rugby. I mean, they've got a big pack of forwards, good ball carriers. They like to pass the ball. They've got soft little hands. But as soon as they get into these pressure games, and it happened last year against Glasgow as well, where everyone thought they're going to run Glasgow off the park. They're playing at altitude. They're a fit team. They're a big team. They're strong. They move well. But against Glasgow, when the pressure was on, everyone just caught it standing still, and then the Glasgow Oaks just chopped them. Carbon copy of what happened this weekend was thinking the Bulls has got Johan Goosen there, they've got Willie there, they've got dynamic back 3 players. I mean, Kane Moody is probably one of the most dynamic players under the high ball.
Yeah.
But you just didn't see that coming. Like everyone, as you said, caught the ball standing still, just didn't get that front foot momentum that they used to. And then all of a sudden, everything just breaks down and becomes what I like to call like 10-man rugby. It's just like one pass, and they're like, listen here, good see you carry the ball, get us momentum. The Oaks just chop his legs and he doesn't get anywhere. Volker, your turn. And they just kept shoveling it to each of the forwards to make sure like it's not lose the ball, first of all, but like, how do we get that punch onto it? And that's what I felt like watching it. I was like, there was no direction, first of all, and everyone just looked like, flip it. I don't want to be the guy that knocks the ball or creates a turnover. And then when they do decide to pull the trigger, then the kick doesn't get executed well, or the pass doesn't. And it was tough to watch. I still think the Bulls is a great team. I still think what Jake White has done with the team in the last 4 years to get them into 3 finals. Unfortunately, they're still trophyless, but they're a good enough side to get there.
Yes.
And I think we'll see them again in years to come. They'll still be as dominant. It's just, how do they convert that mindset from playing one of the best brands of rugby and such a dominant, dynamic style of rugby one weekend, and then the next weekend in a grand final, they almost go into their shells. And I don't have the answer to that. But, still, athletic side, still love the guys, still big fans of Wilku and Vili and Huisen and Cameron and all these boys. And I think they've got bright futures. So, it's a tough loss, but, they'll dust themselves off for next season. They'll probably see a very strong Bulls side coming through in the Currie Cup now in the next couple of months. And, and hopefully we see a lot of them in the green and gold. So it's tough loss, but still proud of them to make it there.
Your head prediction was extremely accurate of the Leinster Bulls game.
Yeah.
So if anyone had placed any bets, you should have placed them with Kitsy, not with myself. I said it was going to be a teens game. It was going to be a 19-15, whatever sort of setup. But you said your heart was in for the Bulls to win, but your head was in for the 20-point lead by Leinster, which is pretty much what it ended up being. So well done on that accurate call. But looking at the post press conference again, a lot of people are commenting in on some things that Jake White had said. And I think what he was trying to get across had a lot of value in it. He's trying to speak into the state of the URC and the state of rugby, the power of money, the power of allowing players to play in different countries for different clubs. And I'd like to think that's kind of what he was getting at, but his comment was along the lines of he wishes that he had what Leinster have in terms of having access to international players that he can make use of. He used the example of the use that Leinster made of Achia Snyman in the second half, where you have a 19-point lead or whatever it was going into the second half, and then you play Snyman. That is such a fuck you. To the opposition of you think it's bad, wait till we play this, which was...
It's our true trump card.
Exactly. Oh, you think we kitted out yet? No.
The king of the URC is coming in.
Man just walks on, the king of the offload.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your take, our take on that press conference talk, on the comment of access to international players, where it felt a little bit like he was doing the shoulder shrug of well, what did you guys expect? It's the Bulls against an international team, to quote.
I understand from a South African rugby point of view, it's cheaper to let the guys go play overseas. Like a RG, he's earning in euros and he's making a good living for himself. And rugby players' lifespan is only 15 years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
That's your big earning years, or maybe the back end of that. So South Africa rugby, and with Rassie and stuff, you see a lot of guys going to Japan. They play less rugby, they make more money, but they're actually fresh when they come back. I understand Jake's point as well. He wants to build as strong as a Bull squad he can. He wants to have the best of the best available every weekend to be able to play and don a Bulls jersey against a 15-man Irish Leinster side. That'll be the dream. But unfortunately, the South African budget doesn't allow for it. If we had to keep all our South African players, or the Bok 23 that gets picked the most of the time when it comes to international rugby, it would just be too expensive. It would be too expensive for clubs to manage it. The guys would not be earning closely to what they're earning now overseas, and it's just not feasible. So unless there's a massive change when it comes to budget or ownership of clubs or bigger sponsorships, or the salary cap gets increased, it's not a viable option. I think what when the Stormers won it and when the Bulls were in, they made use of, and it's for me, it's a cuck excuse because they've managed to get all the way into a final and they put Leinster under massive pressure when they do go play there in a normal week, like in a round robin week. They still put them under pressure, but why, when it comes to a final, is it such a big issue?
Yes.
And that's where I'm like, South Africa's got unbelievable rugby talent. Like the guys that's involved with the Bulls at the moment, like that Sebastian Leite who plays on the wing, is such a good player. I mean, he's got almost 100 capper at fullback. You got a Johan Goosen who's played all across the globe. He's experience from France. He's got a couple of Springbok caps. He's got massive experience when it comes to local rugby. Why isn't that good enough for you? Like, use your group and get the best out of them to make sure you can compete against a 22 Irish players Leinster squad.
Or do you think his comment is in light of when he uses the term international? Do you think his comment is going, I wish all the South African guys like Snyman were staying in South Africa? Or do you think the comment is in terms of, I wish South African teams had the funding that we could also pick a Scot, an Irishman, an Englishman, an Aussie?
I think it's based on like keeping the South African internationals at home. I think that's what it's based upon.
Yeah, because he made comment, I mean, last statement regarding this post-press comments, but he made a statement into the end saying that he had coached, I hope I'm right here, the Wallabies against the Lions. And he said with that, what he was hoping or maybe depending on was the fact that the other team would play badly to give them the chance to win. Now, I don't really view sport that way, maybe because I don't know enough. But to me, every game is always a 50-50. It's like UFC fighting, you say athleticism, we're going to get into now. But every fight and match is always a 50-50. Yes, certain things will sway the percentage.
Yeah.
The one fighter stepping in broke his toe 4 weeks into camp. I'm going to go, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That one foot's a little bit uncomfortable.
The bookies are... Yeah, it's not too favorable.
Now we may be going a 65-35 percentage here, but to me it always starts in the middle, right? And then whatever strategy you put in, whoever you choose to play, whatever gameplay shifts that percentage. I've never really looked at it as we hope they play badly so we stand a chance to win.
And sport mustn't be like that.
Yeah.
You actually, like at the level of sport that we used to watching and love to watch, is like you want both teams to play at 100%, and then at the end of the day, it must be like the best team on the field won that game. Like if you out muscle the team at the scrum and you scored 9 points from penalty kicks, like that was a well executed set piece performance from the team, and it got you the win.
Yeah,
like that's like I never go into a game and like play it against the Bulls, whatever, and then go I hope the Bulls don't pitch up today because I'm not too confident in my side. That's the wrong mentality, because then you're already on the back foot.
Yes.
Because as soon as they do something special, like everyone's heads are going to drop. But if you expect your opposition to go I expect 110% from them, so I expect 110% plus X factor from my side to actually give them a full go. That is what I want out of sport. You know? That's why I love those big games. I love those high pressure international games, like where the Springboks play against the All Blacks, and they go, it's like both teams played at 100% and the score is 34-35, whatever.
That's sick.
And that's what people love. Like I would never wish upon my opposition to not have a great game. I want that to play well, because if he plays well, he's going to get more out of me and vice versa. And it's like, and I like the golf analogy for it, because you only or golf or tennis, you're only as good as your opposition allows you to be.
That's cool.
So that's cool. Like I always see when I play golf and I'm in a 4-ball and everyone in the 4-ball struggles, I struggle as well, because there's not that level of concentration isn't there. But if my partners are playing good golf or they're playing above average, then all of a sudden my game also gets elevated. So that's what I want to see in sport all the time. I want to see my opposition go, I'm going to give you 110% plus some.
There we go.
And then I know I have to pitch up. And if I don't pitch up, I'm gonna have some dirt on my face. But like, I wanna see that competitiveness of sport coming through the whole time. And I would never wish an opposition guy goes, flip, I hope he has a bad game, so I've got a chance to win this.
Oh, it's a strange mentality, eh?
It's like you're on the back foot all the time.
The way that they were thinking, like when, he came out of the scrum and gave that scream and the boys are all high-fiving each other, congratulating each other on the Leinster side.
It's a big moment.
Huge moment, right?
And that's probably something they've been speaking about the whole week. It's like neutralizing the Bulls scrum is such a big moment of that game.
Yeah.
And that Oak just knew mentally. That's why he was probably so psyched.
Yeah.
And he got pushed to that moment. It's not like, if it had to scrum against Marty's third team and probably would have pulverized him and he wouldn't have jumped up and
no, he would have been like, okay,
cool. It's just, this is normal. But now that you scrum against one of the best tight heads in the world,
and
yes, I would win, and I'll understand a celebration like that. So
but again, as you said, dude, well done to Leinster. That was it was really cool to see them play that well.
Yeah.
Hats off. And sorry, Bulls. I don't know what advice to give.
Still love you guys.
Still love you.
We'll see you there in the final probably next year again.
There we go. Yeah. And fingers crossed on it, unless it's not the Stormers.
Yeah. If it's the Stormers, then fingers crossed. Then,
sorry.
Then we hope you have a bad game.
We've got to keep it for the Kaap. We've got to keep it for the Western Province. You mentioned athleticism, dude.
Yeah, let's get into it. We spoke about Leinster pitching up and almost feeling 3 steps quicker than the Bulls did this weekend. But let's go into a couple of sports and just rank the athletic performance required out of 10 for each of these sports. And let's start maybe UFC. What's your take on that?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
What athleticism do you need?
Oh, dude. The only reason I'm going to be hesitant of saying 10 out of 10 is in case there's a sport that requires more. But it's hard for me to look at UFC, MMA, mixed martial arts and go, who needs to train? So you've got to be fast. You've got to be skilled in arguably 4, 5, 6 different, styles of fighting. The mental side to it, the pre-game and post-game of selling yourself to now become this big deal that people are willing to pay to watch. Dude, everything. Flexibility, speed, being able to read opponent.
IQ,
the weight drop, having to cut weight, having to put on weight, I think mixed martial art athletes, probably some of the fittest in the world. I'd probably put them at a 9, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, as you said, 10 out of 10, you don't know what sport there is that you have to be 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So I'll put them at a 9.5.
Okay.
Purely just to be diplomatic about it and go, there could be someone more. 9.5, dude.
Soccer?
Wait, what is your UFC?
It's also 9 out of 10.
Okay, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Soccer, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I think soccer, you need to be extremely fit, cardiovascular-wise.
But I think, probably running, but you don't have to be that strong.
And you don't have to run up a hill. You're running flat.
Yeah.
All the time.
Also, you need some, I would probably say 8.5 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Could see, I'm going at a 6.57, dude.
Okay, so I'll drop it to 7. Here's the interesting one.
Okay.
Darts.
Now,
I reckon it's also a very specialized skill set. So I would think these oaks train throwing a little, a little sharp little thing, almost 10 foot into a dartboard. And
I like what you're saying.
So I would say, pure athleticism, I would probably go 2.5 out of 10.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I thought you were going to put it high there. Okay. 2 out of 10?
2.5 out of 10.
2.5 out of 10. I'll put it at I like sports where it feels like you have to create a moment of perfection.
Okay.
I think that's really cool. I think you see it in tennis, in golf, darts, pool. Yes, there's not much physicality, and yes, you don't have to do much running to play darts.
You walk up and down.
You pretty much, right? If you're lucky, you walk up and down the stage. Love the atmosphere of that sport. I'd love to see it live. I'm going to put them at 4.5. Okay. 4.5. Purely because I think that perfection of a throw is
It needs,
Yeah.
It needs something. American football.
Fuck, 9.5. Hang on. Sorry. 8.5.
Okay, 8.5. High rocks.
2. I'm only saying that to roll feathers.
No, but like honestly, I think probably close to 8. I mean, like the ability to run after like doing 100 burpees, like that must be, you must be fit, and you need to be strong. You need to be quite mobile.
Do you need to be strong?
I mean, you need some power to get off the ground, carry a bag, farmer's walk,
Fair.
doing 100
So
wall balls, whatever you call it.
to put this into context for you, right? If we took any of the other athletes that we've mentioned now before, High Rocks athletes specifically, right? If we took a UFC fighter and an NFL player, not so much a darts player, he's not going to make it very far on the High Rocks, right? But if we take a UFC fighter and an American football player and we tell them to do the High Rocks,
And you give them 6 months to train for it.
I think they'd smash it.
Yeah.
But if you told a High Rocks athlete to go bodybuild or powerlift, or to go long distance run, or to go fight, or to go play a ball-centered sport-specific style, I don't think there's any relevancy to it.
Yeah, they'll struggle.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of like upsetting the High Rocks community. But you're right.
Yeah.
In
And
terms
just
of
pure athleticism.
it needs to be up there. I'm going to say like a 7.5.
Okay. I like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Surfing.
Oh.
I think just like surfing like Musenberg compared to surfing like in
Dungeons.
big dungeons is there's like a 1 out of 10. Like my granny can surf Musenberg sometimes.
There you go.
Compared to like dungeons, which is like a 10 out of 10 or like a 9.5 out of 10. You need to be like able to hold your breath for like 4 minutes underwater when you get pushed down. You need to be able to handle your paddle power needs to be quite high to get into the waves, like your balance, your IQ, the way you read waves in the water and how you move. I think but like to give an average athleticism is probably like 6.5, 7.
Okay,
But
I think you're pretty spot on.
But the top guys, I think, is close to like 8.5, 9, like just how they train for it.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think when we speak American football, we're saying NFL.
Yeah.
When we say MMA, we're saying UFC. So if we go, big wave surfing, or we go like the WSL competitive circuit globally, those are some pretty fit dudes, But again, in light of my comment I made regarding High Rocks, how much physical strength is actually needed to surf?
Yeah.
In terms of big wave surfing, I think a shitload.
Yeah.
So I think you're spot on with like a 7.5.
Okay, next one, esports.
Oh, I love that you put that
0.5 out of 10.
Sure, dude. Okay, hang on.
I think the skill set they have, like like athleticism, nothing, but like your mental.
Same as like a darts player.
Yeah. Like
Perfect one thing.
Yeah. Like I'll take the 0. I'll take 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Golf.
Oh.
So here's the interesting one for me. It's like I watch golf quite a lot, and like just watching the US Open, and I think the guy who won shot in over 4 days, shot -1, like total, and that's like very low for professional golfers. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think if you had to look at like the top of the crop oaks, like Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Tiger back in the day.
Yeah.
Those oaks are like, to generate so much power to hit the ball like up to 350, 380 yards, it's explosive. And those oaks, you can see the oaks train hard, they gym hard, they work hard, they work on their fitness, they work on their mental aptitude. So I think probably just pure athleticism, like golfers is probably for me like close to 8 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10, just purely based on also skill set versus like output that they have to do
I think
on
you're
a
right.
4-day event.
I think they are the peak of what we referring to when we say perfecting one very specific thing. Yeah, maybe just because I'm trying to get into golf at the moment and I know how bloody difficult it is to get good at it. But I've got so much respect for what they do. Like DeChambeau will hit a 412-yard drive and it's dead straight. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how he gets that right.
Gets that much power through the ball,
I think you're pretty spot on, dude. I'll go for like an 8. And maybe that contradicts what I've said with every other sport that doesn't require power and speed and everything else.
Yeah, but Oaks need to be strong.
You do need to be strong. Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like if you watch like Full Swing on Netflix, like it's those Oaks, they train.
They
train
prep,
hard, and they you can see the Oaks try and lift heavy weights and they move heavy weights and they're quick and explosive. So
unless you're John Daly.
Caffeine and nicotine equals protein.
There you go, dude. Fucking Carl foot as well. No scum.
The next one is quite an interesting one because it's close to home. Is rugby.
10 out of 10.
No, I wouldn't say 10 out of 10.
You wouldn't say 10 out of 10?
No, I would say 8.5 out of 10. Because you get your fatties and you get your Oaks who doesn't gym.
Yeah, but like what's missing? So like...
No, like you... like.
Ibn Etzebeth.
No, he's an athlete. Like he's like probably a 9. But like the average professional athlete is like probably 8.5.
You think so?
I think so. Because you get guys like Ibn and Malcolm and... fucking Jesse Krill, who's super athlete.
Yeah.
But
that man's legs.
But also like
juicy.
Like if you talk about endurance, power, speed, explosive power, like probably tick like 4 of those boxes. But if you put him on a 10K run, they will struggle.
Would they struggle?
I struggle. I struggle.
Okay.
But
I think you could run. Actually, I know you could run further than me. Because I've seen you run, because we did that challenge together.
I can do like a... If you put me down and say like, listen, Ketsi, you're not allowed to stop for 10Ks. Like, I'll run slow, but I'll get there.
You think you could do 10Ks?
In one go. Yeah.
No stopping?
No stopping.
Stephen, I could never do that.
But like you can't compete like endurance athlete, like a cyclist or a marathon runner or... Like that is pure endurance.
A Tour de France cyclist? 10 out of 10.
Yeah. See, that is
12 out of 10.
That is athleticism. Like it's explosive power, like climbing those hills, like navigating tight turns. Like there's a skill set involved, plus there's like a massive output of endurance and power that you have to get through. Rugby, also there's guys who's extremely quick and there's guys who's not so quick. Okay. But I would think like in a rugby team, like 15 players, you'll probably get a guy who's an athlete, that's a 6 out of 10, and you'll get a guy who's a 9.5 out of 10. But the average athlete is probably like around 8.
Sure, dude.
That's where I think...
You gave that some really nice... You might be convincing me, yeah. Because I don't think there's a more physically demanding sport than rugby, ice hockey, and then a third would be obviously NFL.
But see, ice hockey is like my next one. Like so ice hockey is also like 9.5 out of 10.
Yes.
Because everyone does exactly the same job on the ice ring. It's not like rugby. Rugby, yes, you get fours that run in the backs and vice versa, and actually have to cover tackle. But ice hockey, except for the goalie, everyone does basically the same thing.
Have you seen those goalies warm up?
Yeah.
Dude, they look like weapons on ice. It's my favorite thing ever. Shout out Edmonton Oilers. Please win the series and take the cup to Canada. Thank you.
Let's finish off with the pool or snooker.
Finish off on that?
Yeah, I think just to get the bar juices flowing.
Okay, so I'm gonna confidently, obviously you being a rugby player, I'm not gonna argue with the fact that you put them at what, 8.5?
Yeah. 8.5.
8.5. Okay, I'm with you. Ice hockey, what are you going to sit on?
9.5.
Okay, I'm with you. Pool?
3.
Okay. Do you think darts or pool requires more...
Athleticism?
Yes.
I think pool, because pool,
I'm with you.
Pool there's more variables.
I agree with
There's
you.
more angles that you need to take, more decisions that needs to be made. There's more like a darts player, if he can find his rhythm to throw like a triple 20, like he finds that rhythm and he just hits it. Like he hits it like consistently. A pool player, it changes all the time. His angle might be different.
Yeah.
The power he needs to put into the shot, the amount of backspin he needs, or where he needs the cue ball to stop. Like those things change all the time. Darts, I think if those oaks, yes, it changes when it comes to like counting out, like getting to the back end of it, like throw a double or something. But when they're in the beginning, they practice that 180 like a million times, like 10,000 hours spent on throwing like 60. And then next time,
That's
60.
a good point you make, dude.
And then they they practice how to throw a ball, they practice how to, then math comes in and they're like, okay, cool, I need a 20 and then I need a 10 and then I need another double 10 to finish out my round. But like pool is, you hit a shot, you miss it, or you clip something on the way and your ball doesn't stop where you want it to stop. Or your opponent also becomes a competitive thing because you're not playing there on your own. It's not like you shooting for time. How quickly can you finish 8 balls? It's like you playing and that oak plays and you don't know what he's going to do. There becomes...
Well, maybe this analogy, this just came to mind, so please don't hate me for saying this. I'm trying to do something here. I think
we're doing something.
This is not going to work, but let's see. I think if you make the comparison of darts to golf and tennis to pool, it helps me to understand why you're saying what you're saying. In tennis, there's a continuation to it, right? Of every time I hit, I'm thinking that I've got to do it again immediately, and I have to read you giving it back to me as fast as possible. So I'm not only thinking about how I'm hitting it now, I'm thinking of what is the response going to be to that.
Yeah.
In golf, I'm going, it's me and the ball.
Yeah.
Yes, there's wind and obstacles and distance
but
and
you
power
take
and
it
everything.
you take it into
one at a time.
Your calculations.
Yeah, you go one hit at a time. Whereas darts, one throw at a time. In pool, it's that continuous nature again of, yes, I'm going to play this hit now and I need to get it perfectly, but I also am thinking, where's that white ball going to end up?
Yeah. And if I miss, then my opposition plays.
Yes.
And then he's thinking that.
And then that changes your entire game plan for you again.
Yeah.
Did that work? Did that analogy work?
Yeah. It's like, it's back and forth. But it's like, as you said, like golf is you and that little white ball. Nothing, if you've got a strong enough mindset, nothing's outside of that. It's going to really influence how you swing your club at that ball.
Yeah.
Because it's you with the little white ball, your caddy, and that hole.
It's a really interesting conversation because they've all got such different factors to them that make them so unique, which is why I love sport and I love getting into it. I like being a fan of sport. No, dude. So love for all sport. No hate thrown or no shade thrown other than the high rocks, which even that, respect, you guys are phenomenal athletes. We're not yet launching the announcement of merch, but what we can launch and announce is that very soon, with the help of SofaWorks, who are kind enough to help us out with setting up our studio, we are going to be auctioning off a branded leather chair. It's our third chair that you can't see on these 2 camera angles right now, but we will be auctioning off the third chair. SofaWorks really want to do something for charity. So closer to the time, we will pick a very specific charity that they want to do this with, and the money will go off to a charity of our and SofaWorks choice, and we will auction off the chair. It will have the GameTime logo, as well as we want to do something really cool within the stitching with signature and stuff like that to get something cool into the head of the pillow, and you guys can buy it via the auction, place it in your house.
Comfy.
Huh?
These chairs are very comfy.
Moose are comfy, dude. Especially this leather one. This leather one's badass. This weekend, we are doing this is our first trip together. I got emotional about that. I really did. This is our first trip, everyone together. Yeah. Yes, it's to Joburg, but that's cool. Fun. I like Jersey sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, thank you to everyone that watches and likes and subscribes and comments. We do go through all the comments. as well as all the requests. Thank you to everyone that DM'd with requests to come on as a rugby fan. We responded to a whole lot of you guys this morning. Thank you so much for that feedback. Whether the comments are good, bad, positive, negative, reaffirming or absolute
dislike button,
soul destroying dislike button, mass tapping, we read them all. So thank you so much for the good and the bad. It's the first thing I do in the morning, and it determines the state of my day. So thank you for making my day and ruining it sometimes as well. That's been cool. But yeah, all love, man, where fans and players meet. So thank you so much for being a fan of the show, for being a fan of rugby, for being a fan of Stephen, and for just supporting the show. We're having so much fun doing this. So